How's it going out there, everyone? W.F.S, your doctor here today with a question for you. Is it possible that the legendary Captain James T. Kirk made a decision and set things in motion that was wrong? Why would he do what he did? And I guess the real question is, should we be questioning something about this man and what he did? When Captain Kirk sentences Khan and his people to exile on Ceti Alpha Five, was this the right decision? I have to ask this question because I think it was wrong. Honestly, in this particular case, I honestly think
judgment stinks.
Now let me make one thing very clear. I am not saying that Kirk's decision-making skills throughout the entire series were all wrong. His judgment for the most part did not stink. But in this case, it was terrible. Why in the world would you set this man and his people loose on another world when you know, number one, the history of this person, again, and his people, and then when you woke him up in your world, he started attacking you, he tried to steal your ship, he tried to kill you. Why in the world are you showing so much mercy and compassion for this man?
Spock, you misunderstand us. We can be against him and admire him all at the same time.
Illogical.
Totally.
Now, why don't we be honest about this? The whole reason that Kirk sent him off was because he admired him. He loved the person that Khan was, the history of the man, and he had a little respect for him, even though he did try to kill him. But again, was his judgment right in this case? And in my opinion, it was terrible. But I know there are other people out there who are going to say something to me.
Can't blame him for that animal.
You know, and some people would be correct. Kirk can't be blamed for the animal instinct, the animal behavior that Khan presented back during the eugenics wars. But that doesn't change the fact that Kirk, because he didn't send him to prison or to a penal colony, caused so much trouble to take place 15 years later in the Wrath of Khan. But here's another little interesting piece. We almost didn't get the movie The Wrath of Khan. We almost got a different movie involving Star Trek and Khan, but it would have had nothing to do with the story we saw. The original plan for Star Trek II had nothing to do with Khan and his people being stranded on a desolate world with no hope in sight. Harv Bennett, the original writer for Star Trek II, had a different concept in mind, and yes, Khan was involved. In Harv Bennett's version of Star Trek II, we would have had Carol Marcus and David Marcus, except Carol Marcus would have been calling Kirk for help because their son, whom he still in this story didn't even know he had a son, finds out that his son is somewhat of a warlike leader on Ceti Alpha Five, and Carol has called Kirk in to go help save David from the life that he's living. There would have been a fight scene between Kirk and David, except in this case, Kirk convinces David to turn to the good side, and along the way, Kirk learns who is responsible for the warlike behavior of this world. He learns that there's only one person that could have been responsible for it. David would learn that Kirk is his dad, they'd have a hug or two, work things out, and then they would team up to go after Khan. When we think about Star Trek II and Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, both Nick Meyer's and Harv Bennett's versions of the story, it all boils down to one simple thing. Captain Kirk, his judgment stank. It stunk. This was the mistake that in either story sets a whole mess of events up that caused so many people to die, all because one man, Captain James T. Kirk, failed to do his duty Rather, he felt like it was more important to show respect for this man, the respect for Khan. And I'm sorry, but I honestly believe that Kirk really screwed up here.
Captain, although your abilities intrigue me, you are quite honestly inferior. Mentally, physically. In fact, I am surprised how little improvement there has been in human evolution. Oh, there has been technical advancement, but how little man himself has changed.
The conversation that Kirk and Khan had in Khan's quarters should have been a clear indicator that something was wrong, that this man was going to be a challenge. You know who he is, you know the history of the man. Why are you being so nice to him?
I wish my next decisions were no more difficult. Khan and his people. What a waste to put them in a reorientation center.
Kirk absolutely admired this man. Even though Khan tried to kill him, Kirk admired him. And the question I have is, did his like for Khan and the history of this character, did that sway Kirk? What would be the logical reason to send this man and his people off to another world? And here's the other thing to think about. Both stories indicated that there was life on Ceti Alpha 5. Kirk, knowing who this man was, sent Khan and his people off to a world where they could have caused so much misery for so many people. If we had gotten the Harv Bennett version of the Wrath of Khan, what type of planet would Khan have created? All because Kirk did not do what he should have done in Space Seed. I would love to know your comments on this one. I really would. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Am I wrong? Was Kirk's judgment solid in this particular instance? Or did his judgment stink? Everything that happened, whether it be from the script that we never got or from the Wrath of Khan, everything that happened was all because Kirk set a series of events into motion that should never have happened. Khan and his people should have gone to prison or a rehabilitation center, not gone off to some world where they could attempt to conquer it. I would love to hear your comments, so please drop those comments below and let me know. And until the next time, my friends, God bless.